Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome back to the Juneann Lewis True Life Story. Now, it's been a while. It's been 2 weeks since you guys have seen or heard anything from me. And the reason that is because during the George Floyd situation, as a mother of a Black child, I felt like I could not post anything personal. I wanted to share in the grief of that family. I wanted to be a part of something that made a difference. So I didn't want to be sharing my personal life. So that's why you had not heard from me. I was hurt as a mother, as I imagine most mothers were hurt, just seeing the horrific way that a young man passed away from this earth, okay? I want to say, first of all, condolence to the Floyd family as well, as this goes out too. So, back on track for the Juneann Lewis True Life Story. Let's see what happened on the last show. One day my husband came home and told me, he said, look, I heard about this pastor when he was going to school because he had gotten out of the military and he was taking advantage of his military education. And he said to me, he said, you know, while I'm driving going to school every morning, there's a pastor that I listen to. He said, you've got to listen to this guy. He's so powerful. He brings the word so real, da, da, da. So he introduced me to this church that I started going, this big mega church that I started going to. But when I tell you I got involved in church, used to go on Sunday, used to go on Wednesday, started participating in church, doing stuff in the church. I had just loved the church and loved being around the people of God. Anyway, so years later, I started to fizz out. As the children left, I myself started going through a depression. We're back and I've got to pay some bills, as you guys know, so I must say thank you to my sponsor. My sponsor is Vitally, and Vitally actually makes fantastic products. They have a day cream, a night cream, and a facial serum that is excellent for the skin. The complete using of those is a perfect maintenance for your skin for day, night, and taking care of soggy skin and that sort of thing. I'm telling you guys, you can see the difference in my skin from using it. So thank you so much, Vitally. And please go to vitally.com. Make sure that when you do, you put in JL, that's capital JL 2020, and you are going to get 40% discount on any products that you're purchasing from Vitally. So take advantage of that. Okay, so let's get to the meat and potatoes. Because I've been gone for so long, I decided I'm going to actually share, I'm going to skip and jump forward and share the situation that happened with my husband, which most people were waiting to hear. What happened after my husband died and what I found out, right? But before I get to that, I want to say it's going to be 2 parts because it's too much for me to say it in one. All right? But I have to reel back. So in 2013, I got an email from my husband. And the email said, "You're going to be my wife forever. I am never, ever going to be with anyone ever in my life but you." Now imagine you're married to your husband and this is the note that you receive. But because my husband, by the way, for those of you who don't know, was gone for 12 years. Somebody said, what? 12 years? Really? How are you even calling it a marriage? When I tell you, his excuse was he's never coming back to America until we become a millionaire. So, and me as a wife, I'm going to tell you, I said, okay, I'm with you. We have to do what it is we have to do to accomplish this goal. Things started off great, and then eventually the business plummeted. And so we weren't getting contracts or anything, or you would get a contract and you would lose the contract and that sort of thing. Well, it continued over the years, and eventually I got tired of it because I kept asking him, I'm going to come to Kuwait. Oh, no, don't come. You know your personality and how you are. Oh, you're not going to like these people and they can't handle you. You're too strong of a Black woman for them, is basically what he would say. And it was okay. I said, all right, I accepted that. Then another time, oh no, I have to move where I'm living. I don't want you to come here where I'm living. I need to move someplace better for you or safer for you. Wait until I do that. So it was always an excuse. And then the calls got less and less and less as the years, and the email got less and less and less. And then eventually, 2 years before my husband died, I literally did not have any communication with him. So when he had sent this thing in 2013, I didn't even bring it up to him. I let it be because I was already suspecting that something was going on, but I didn't know to the depth of what was going on. I figured, oh, he's just doing, whatever it is men usually do, cheat. But let me stop here and say this. For men, I want to say something to you. If you're married and you have a wife, and you no longer want that relationship, the best thing for you to do is to divorce that woman. If you think you're found Mrs. Right, divorce that woman. And if you don't, and you are playing the game where you want your wife, but you want the other woman, so you want your cake and you want to eat it too, the end results, life is not going to be well for you. So I'm saying this, and I'm going to say something that people are going to be thinking, oh, it's off the rack. I've noticed that God has given most men that have moved on from their wives and that are still married, but they're not leaving the wife. It means they leave that woman tied up, right? And they're still trying to hold on to her. Or they're dogging their wife out and talking the worst about her. I find God, and I don't know what it is. I tell you, I've known of 3 cases, and I just recently heard, I knew personally of 3 cases, and I just recently heard of somebody who told me of another one. God gives them 12 years. The average of 12 years. My husband died 12 years after he was finished doing his nonsense. I know of 2 other family members and people who it happened to them. 12 years later, that man passed. Right? And I'll tell you what it is. I don't know what it is scripturally in the Bible, but I know God gives them a time to correct their mistakes. And if you keep doing it over and over and over and thinking that you're tricking God, and when I tell you, one of the things I notice, especially if they're going to church, God said, don't play with me. You know you haven't done right. I heard that my husband was going to church in Kuwait, and he had even at one time got saved, even though I don't know how that was possible when you didn't do right in the first place. And I'll get to that point. So here it is. Yeah, this is taking me more than, give me a minute. I'm laughing because I didn't even realize when I started talking it would affect me like this. But anyway, after he had done that in 2013 and things went on and we hadn't spoken, he had sent me at one time something to say, can you go to the police station for me and check and see if they have my name in there? And I wondered, who does that? I mean, you're traveling, so the police there's no reason you're not living here, but then I forgot that he had a child with another woman. And the odds are he was not paying that woman any child support. As a matter of fact, I know he wasn't paying the woman any child support as far as I know. So apparently he was scared that she was going to put him in trouble. So that was one of the reasons. And he needed to get another passport. I said, go get your passport. Do what you have to do. You're right there at the U.S. Embassy. Go do it. Anyway, things went on. And my son, let me roll back to that. My son had went to Kuwait and worked with his dad for 6 months. He told me when he came back, he says, Mom, Dad is not doing well. He's falling asleep in meetings, that sort of thing. So apparently issues were happening with him as well that time, and he gained a lot of weight as well. So my daughter went as well to Kuwait, and she was stationed, she was military Air Force, and she was stationed there, and he went and visited her. She went and visited him. And when there was a woman that was there, and this woman was supposed to be his housekeeper. When he had first went to Kuwait, the woman used to work for him because he had worked for AFIS at that time. The woman used to work for him. And then when he went back, he told me he took the woman on as a housekeeper. So earlier, maybe like 2009, he called and said to me, do you mind sponsoring this woman and her brother? Because they want to come to the States, and they're such a beautiful family, and I want to help them. She's always helpful. I said, no, I'm not going to do that. Meanwhile, and this story seemed to be going here and scared, but I'm getting you caught up until what it happened. Whenever I would send money, if we had done anything, I would send money to him in Kuwait, right? And if my husband couldn't get it, he would say to me, send it to this lady or send it to her brother. So I was sending money to him or to the brother or to the woman, right? This is lady that is the maid and the brother that helps him. Anyway, so as I said, when my daughter went and I asked her, I said, is something going on between your dad and that woman? My daughter said, no, Mom, that lady doesn't even like dad like that. No, there's no way that lady's doing anything. She said, I sat and I had a conversation, and from what she told me about dad, she doesn't have anything. She was even saying she thinks, you know, he needs to go back to the States. He needs to take care of his health. And the woman talked about all of that. Anyway, so I let it go that nothing was going on. So coming back to when the phone call came the day to my son, this is the same woman that was there, called my son because she had known him because he had stayed 6 months in Kuwait. The phone call came to him and he came and told me that the woman called and said that my husband had passed and that I need to call somebody. So she gave a number for me to call. And more than likely I'm going to have to call the U.S. Embassy. Anyway, she gave me a number for this man to call. So when I made the call, I called to a man, which is the number, somebody that I was given that number to call to. And I called to the man, and the man is telling me, he said, yes, Miss Lewis, your husband did pass. And he said, my husband was a member of the church that he was going to as well. And that he had told my husband before that he needed to come back because now we're finding out my husband had gout. Now, guys, meanwhile, while this is going on, I know how to cure gout. I know how to help people with gout. Of course, they call it the rich man disease because eating meats and those things as well will cause it. So eating rich quality foods, right? So anyway, he told me that my husband could not walk for 2 weeks before he had passed, he told me. And he said he was in a lot of pain. The guy even went on forward to say, hey, you know, he said to let you guys know that he loved you. And I don't know if the man made that part up and put it in just to make it sweet, to make us feel better anyway. As I'm talking to the man, I don't know what came over me. Something said, Juneann, ask this man a question. And the question that I asked the man was my husband involved with somebody? And is there any children? And the man said, yes, ma'am, there is. And there is a 6-year-old child. I said, who it is? And he told me the woman is the same woman that was supposedly the maid. That is the same woman that my husband had a child with. I'm going to reel back and tell y'all something because there's some other stuff after that. But anyway, I remember in 2010 that my husband, the end of 2010 going into 11, that my husband, whenever he would call, would tell me, oh, this lady, she's supposed to, but I allow her to babysit the neighbor's child, and the child is always crying, because you would hear a baby crying in the background. Or I have to go outside and talk. So he would go outside. So that was the reason he would tell me every time this long story, this ridiculous lie, that it was a lady next door's child, and that the man used to beat his wife, and his wife would come over and ask his maid to keep the child, and he allowed it because they were just trying to help the couple. That was his baby. Had no clue. It went so far that I sent too much money at one time, and then the IRS or the government, somebody said, who is this you're sending money to? Because they saw it wasn't my husband, and they inquired, said, who are you sending money to? Who are these people? So I had to have Western Union, had to put a hold and investigate, and I guess maybe they figured it out and they didn't say anything to me, but I was allowed to send money back to him. But there was a time when I was sending money to them directly. Had no clue. I was sending money to support my husband and his illegitimate child with the woman that he had this child with. Had no clue. So I'm going to tell y'all, for people who do things like that, it's not nice. Go on about your business. And y'all said, Juneann, why are you laughing? I'm laughing because I actually forgive this man. And today I can laugh. Today I can talk about it. Today I can speak about it in a different manner. Because I truly did forgive him. And it was hard. I'm not going to tell you it was easy. It was hard. I literally had to muster it up within my spirit and said, you know what? For whatever reason, he thought he had to do that. That's him and God, not me. I remember when it first happened, people go, aren't you ashamed? I said, what am I ashamed for? I didn't do anything. I was right here. I didn't have a child for another man. I didn't do anything of the sort. Now, mind you, this lady has a husband and 2 children in the country where she's from, because she wasn't from, and I'm not going to call where she's from, but she wasn't from Kuwait. She came to work there in Kuwait and left her husband and 2 children, and then turned around and had a child with my husband. And for people, when you hear it, don't destroy a woman. Don't destroy somebody. Because the first thing people said to me when they call is that you have life insurance on him. And I want to set that record straight. No, he didn't have any life insurance. And that's me saying that to the world. If there's an insurance company out there, you need to come forth and let me know, because I didn't get any money from you. No, he didn't have any life insurance. All right. But yes, I do get funds from the U.S. government for my husband. But I want to set this record clear as well. I didn't get it when I was in Atlanta, Georgia. They told me no, I couldn't get any benefits there. But I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to continue this part next week. When you get the call to move, move. You understand me? I just told you I didn't get any benefits, and they told me they didn't have any when I was in Atlanta. But because I was obedient and moved when I was supposed to, those benefits opened right here in Florida for me. 3 months after I got here, the benefits opened. I came here and I reapplied, and all the nonsense that they told me in Atlanta got thrown out the window. I'll explain that further next week when I tell you more about this. All right? Right? I'll be wearing the same clothes because I'm just cutting it in half. That's all I'm doing. All right? And somebody says, man, but I've got to leave it here because it's going to go in depth of some stuff that's going to shock you guys even more than that. Right? You say, what else can shock you? Yeah. So, but peace be to you guys. I truly do appreciate you. And thank you for being patient. And I'll pick up next week with the other half of this.